A court has recently sentenced controversial cross-dresser Idris Olanrewaju Okuneye, popularly known as Bobrisky, to 6 months in prison without the option of a fine for abusing the Naira. The court said the judgment will serve as a deterrent to others found abusing the Naira. Before the sentence, the judge asked about his sex, and he quickly replied that he was a man. The judge ruled that the jail term commenced on March 24th, the day of his arrest. Bobrisky had last Friday, after his conviction, pleaded with the court to give him a lesser punishment as he was not aware of the law against abusing Naira. Well, Section 21, subsection of the CBN Act bans Nigerians from spraying or throwing the national currency at social occasions. There's also the Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act, which bans gay marriage, same-sex amorous relationships with penalties of up to 14 years in prison. Bobrisky has gained recognition for his controversial presence on social media, where he challenged conservative Nigerian standards. As a cross-dresser, he has a large following on social media and has gained attention on his social media accounts by talking about his lovers of masculine gender. Bobrisky's arrest for money spraying has raised eyebrows because a lot of celebrities and Nigerian citizens openly commit this act. So why him? This has left people wondering if the real reason for his arrest is a smokescreen. Well, joining us now for some enlightenment on what's legal and what's not regarding this situation is Lawrence Alobi, a retired commissioner of police, lawyer, security consultant, and chairman, High-Tech Security Services and Training. Good morning and a warm welcome to you on Perspectives. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Okay. Also with us still is Joseph Edgar, who is now with us for the second segment of this episode. So let's start with you, Mr. Alobi. Following the court's decisions to arrest cross-dresser Bobrisky, there's been an outcry that a lot of people feel that this was a smokescreen for his arrest, that it was a bit too harsh and people are reacting to it. Because a lot of people spray monies at parties and nobody has been arrested for it yet, or at least maybe just one person. But it's not something that is known to happen regularly. So was this a smokescreen? Was his arrest a smokescreen?
I don't think so. It's not a smokescreen. Every society, modern society must have laws. And those laws are meant to regulate the conduct and behavior of its members for the good of society. Like the 2007 Central Bank of Nigeria Act prohibits the issue of spraying of Naira, matching of Naira, and even dancing on Naira, even hawking of Naira. These are all offenses. For the fact that people don't know that this offense exists, it doesn't make it not to be an offense. You see, again, the jurisprudential value of law is predicated on its enforcement. All along, I think security agencies have been turning their eyes out of this crime. Now that the EFCC force, I think it's a very good development. And I also want to say that all security agencies should ensure that these laws are enforced. This law is enforced. Because laws, like I said, if you don't enforce, it's of no value to man and society. And people do what they like. And like our Naira has been abused in various ways, social occasions, marriages and so forth. And this should not be allowed. There are laws. And like I said, they said ignorance of the law is no excuse. That he said he didn't know this law exists. But then what lesson have we learned from that statement? The lesson is that the CBN should also carry out a popular enlightenment of this crime. It exists. Anybody found guilty of this act is culpable and liable. So I think I'm happy that the EFCC has set the space by ensuring that this is done. It's nothing. It's not a smokescreen or nothing personal against him. But the point is that an offense was committed, and the EFCC were up to respond to their obligation to arrest any more kind of offense within their view or to their knowledge. So I think all security agencies should ensure that when laws are promulgated or laws are passed, they should ensure they can carry out these laws. But because when they turn their face out of these laws, when they don't enforce these laws, then it becomes a problem. Like he said, he didn't know that this law exists. So that public enlightenment, our racial orientation agency, should carry out some of this enlightenment for people to know. Because you need to know principle, like now he's claiming he doesn't know, it's not an excuse. So the society has a duty, therefore, to educate the citizens on what is an offense or what is acceptable or not acceptable, and this is what should be done.
Okay.
Because when these laws are there and people don't know about them, they break them unknowingly. Okay. So I think the society also has a duty. Society has a role to perform.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Alobi. I want to ask you, Edgar, Nigeria is still a very traditional state, throwing up contradiction which Bobrisky has seized. What do you think about Bob's marketing shenanigans and his lifestyle? How has he gotten away with defying our tradition and culture?
Okay, so the one thing you need to understand now is that Bobrisky has about 5 million followers, like they say in different social media. And then the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, he's been one of the most, is it Googled or whatever, sought after personalities in the country. Now, I think, I don't know him, never met him once. I think it's just a very, very elaborate marketing structure, that he has put in place, to sell his services, which includes cosmetics and all of that, and then putting that controversial lifestyle out there to gather attention and all of that. But that said, this Bobrisky's trial, this Bobrisky's record trial, because it's a record trial. Since I've become an adult, I've not seen where police catch somebody. You get from the day they catch the person to conviction is 72 hours. So
do you believe it's a smoke screen for the real reason why
No, I don't want to go there. Okay. I don't want to go there. I just think that this Bobrisky's issue has thrown up a very strong need for reforms in certain sectors. Okay. There's thrown a strong need for reforms in criminal justice system. There's thrown up a strong need for reforms in judicial procuring judgments. You get that is why in advanced countries you have the juror system. You get now, so we are seeing a judge who has gone for the maximum in a case where the man has pleaded guilty and even cut a plea deal. Arguments are divided in this way. But for me, if there's a juror system, there will be some level of checks and balances. You get that? Now it's also thrown up. You get me now? Very importantly, the need for prison rights, prisoners' rights, prison reforms. I'm very happy that the prisoners, the authorities have said, we are going to protect him. Okay. I would just hope they do that. Do you get me now?
I'm going to ask that question because that's very pressing.
Then very importantly, we cannot continue to play the ostrich game with the increasing rampantness of same-sex relationships. Does this present law address it? That's a question we need to ask ourselves and very seriously.
It's good that you mentioned that. Let's go back to Mr. Alobi. CP, I want to ask, do you believe Bobrisky's behavior has encouraged a lot of homosexuals to come out? And if so, why have they not been arrested if they have broken the law of same-sex relationships? Or is it that the Nigerian police is afraid of the global backlash from such actions because human rights groups and the United Nations officials have expressed grave concern about the scope of the law, like Duke of Shomolu just said, its vague provisions and the severity of punishments?
You see, same-sex law, same-sex is an offense against our laws, our criminal code and penal code. And it's not allowed. Homosexuality and so forth, lesbianism is not allowed in our laws. And if it's not allowed, it is now left for the security agencies, law enforcement agencies to enforce these laws. Because when they don't enforce it, it becomes as if it is a norm. It's not an acceptable behavior or conduct, which is not allowed, what the law provides. So I think it's because our security agencies have not been up and doing in enforcing these laws. And then the society also should be made these moral values. What it's doing, the point is that Africans, Nigeria in particular, we have moral values. And if society does not moral values, it's doomed. Our moral values should be protected. Can you imagine somebody say you want to be transformed to a man, to a woman? How does that done? You didn't create yourself. You didn't create yourself. God, the creator, knows why he created you as a man or a woman. So therefore, I don't think it is morally right. We shouldn't allow globalization on national to come and bastardize our moral values.
Okay.
So it is because the law enforcement agencies have not been up and doing. So this one is a wake-up call to all law enforcement agencies that all our laws should be enforced if we really want sanity in our society.
Okay, but some would argue
this.
Okay, sorry. Are you done?
Yes, go on.
I said some would argue that the law.
I'm saying that.
Okay, we are cross wires here. So let me you finish.
I'm listening.
Okay.
Okay. No, what I'm saying is that security agencies should be up and doing about this enforcement of these laws. Because they don't have, these laws seem to be, the laws are there. I mean, laws are there. The laws have of no value that I said earlier if they're not enforced. It's only when the law is enforced it has the potential value on the society and man.
Okay.
So this society, security agencies should now wake up to their duties.
Okay, because human rights groups are very particular about this, and they've expressed their grave concerns over the violence LGBTQ people suffer. Some would argue that the SSMPA has contributed significantly to a climate of impunity for crimes committed against LGBT and has created opportunities for people to act out their homophobia with brutality and without fear of legal consequences, which goes against the basic tenets of the Nigerian Constitution, including respect for dignity and prohibition of torture. The victims, for instance, say the law inhibits them from reporting to authorities due to fear of exposure and arrest. So my question now, sir, is how can Nigerian authorities protect and stop all forms of abuse and violence against LGBT people? Because they are humans like the rest of us. How can they be protected?
They are humans. Like I said earlier, every human society has laws and values. If these laws are there, these laws are meant to be obeyed. Why did God punish Adam and Eve and bless Abraham? Because Abraham obeyed the law. And Adam and Eve disobeyed the law. Laws are meant to be obeyed for the good of society. And if these things, you see, we talk about human right. What are the obligations of the citizens? The citizens also have obligation. When they say right, there's corresponding obligation on the part of the citizens. But we seem to emphasize on our rights and downplaying on our obligations as citizens for the good of society. Is it moral right to do what they are doing? The society accept it? So these are things we need to know, to educate every Nigeria, because it's impacting negatively on our young generation. They see that as an accepted norm.
Okay.
Sometimes when you see young men wearing torn jeans in the name of fashion, that is not acceptable at all. Can you start wearing a torn dress like a madman in the name of fashion? These are moral values. We should try to protect and defend our moral values. Because I said, a society without moral value, a family without moral value is doomed. And our parenting has been thrown to the overboard. Parents don't ever sit down to counsel their children and guide them to the moral values of society or value of the family. So I think the government should carry out this properly enlightenment education on our moral values. That is how we can have our dignity. When the moral values are bastardized and destroyed, then we are doomed.
Okay, now that let's bring Edgar back to the house. You've heard his CP's very, very, very strong views. But what are the components in society that have triggered Bobrisky's support base, and what floodgates has his arrest and sentence ignited, regardless of people's opinions?
First and foremost, I think, and with all due respect to the commissioner, I think you have thrown him into waters that I think he cannot swim. This conversation is not about whether it is a law or not. Mm-hmm. This conversation is not about whether the police is executing the law or not. That's fact. That's something that we cannot. The Commissioner of Police does not have the capacity to have this conversation. Do you get? There's a law against same-sex. That's fact. Yes. Do you get? And police must make sure that the law is obeyed. Mm-hmm. And that if anybody goes against that law, the person will be prosecuted. Yeah. Do you get me now? That's fact. But now, that said, there are some societal changes, dynamisms, do you get, that are evolving. First, very gradually in the last 10, 15, 20 years, now becoming very, very powerful, that we now have to start asking ourselves, the present laws, do they address these issues? That is the question the commissioner cannot answer by virtue of his training and his age. Do you understand?
Would you say that homophobia played a major role in type of sentence that he was given with no option of a past?
I have had a very heated argument today on this matter. You know, I wrote an article about it. Very heated. Do you get me now? But I will not go there, because if I went there, you know, Nigerians like assuming things. Nigerians just like things that, you know. The truth of the matter now is that this man committed this offense. This man was prosecuted in record time. Do you get? This man did a plea deal. This man has been jailed. This man has gone to prison. Every other thing outside of what I just said now is conjecture. Do you get me now? But my own point now is that this man's case has now triggered a lot of things.
Yes, give us examples.
Good. It has not triggered same-sex relationships vis-a-vis the evolving society that we find ourselves today. Do you get? Now, the question now in my head is, have we reached the point where we want to go back and look at that law again? I cannot answer that live on TV here. Or should we stand where we are standing as a society to say this thing is no? If the generality of society says it is no, then we stand there.
Well, how feasible do you think this law is in the reality of today's times?
So for me, that law is ineffective, and I'll tell you why. I'm not saying that I support same-sex. I'm just saying that when there's a law that is defectively, what's the word now? Defectively used, then the law is ineffective, because we are seeing a lot of these things happening. How many people are being convicted? We are seeing a lot of these things happening in our own koro eyes. On social media, on TV, how many people are being prosecuted and convicted? How many people have gone to jail for this? Are you getting me now? So if that data is not there, or if that data is there that shows that very insignificant numbers of people have been prosecuted successfully, then I think the law should be looked at again vis-a-vis the current happening society. Then another problem again is that we like as a country to look at effects. We don't look at the causative factors. Are you getting me now? We have regulatory bodies. Do you get me now? Whose job it is to provide a gateway to what our children see or view on platforms that have a strong influencing factor.
Let me ask you a quick question. What are the risks that you think Bobrisky will face now being in jail? How well prepared do you think he is, and how well do you think
that's
he
why I wrote.
protected?
That's why I wrote, and then everybody is abusing me.
Because even that in itself must be traumatic.
That's why I wrote. That's why everybody is abusing me. Do you get me now? I don't care who or what Bobrisky is.
No, but what is your take? What do you think?
No, that's my take now. So my take now is that a normal man who enters cell or prison already faces that risk of sexual assault. Talk less of a man who already has positioned himself as a woman. Do you get me now? So that's why I talked about prison reforms. Do you understand? He must be protected. Every human being must be protected within the prison system.
Let me ask the CP the same question. CP, I want to ask you the question, because obviously he says he admitted that he was a man, but we do know that he's a man that represents himself or identifies as a woman, and the chances of him being sexually molested or harassed in jail will be a bit dangerous. So I was asking CP, but I think we've lost him. Yeah. Now, what do you think? I'm a bit scared for him that this might be an ordeal for him. Yeah, so do you think the police should make special arrangements for him to make sure that he's well protected? Because I wanted to ask CP.
In the short term, yes, do you get? And then in the mid to long term, do you get? You make special protection for every Nigerian who finds himself in that situation. You see, the fact that you're a prisoner does not mean that you have lost your rights. You have your rights to protection, you have your rights to all of that. Do you get me now? So every Nigerian who finds himself within the penal system, do you get? The system must protect the person. But in this particular case, do you get? I think, and I'm very happy that prisoners have said so, that special arrangements must be made for his protection. Because, and for different reasons. One, he's high profile. 2, he's wealthy, whereas also everybody thinks he is. And 3, he has shown proclivity to the fairer sex. So when you dump him in a situation with
almost
men,
like in a den of wolves,
who are sex starved,
okay,
you get, so the system must protect him.
Let me throw the last question to CP, now that we have him back on air. CP, sorry we missed you for a minute. I was just speaking to Joseph Edgar, that has any preparation been made to protect Bobrisky while he's in jail? Because he is very vulnerable at this point in time. So have the police made any special preparations to make sure that he's not attacked or bullied or manhandled whilst he's in jail?
And I'm sure that the prison authority or corrections center authority have rules of engagement. They have procedures where inmates are being protected. People don't have access to others except when they are kept. I'm sure they've taken necessary action to ensure that every inmate is protected. But I want to ask the issue of my colleague who said that the present law is defective. What makes the law defective? Like I said, laws are meant to guide the conduct and behavior of the citizens for the good of the society. If modernization and globalization is bringing the issue of same sex and so forth, is it because it is done in other climes or other countries that we should not accept it? Is it in line with our own values and moral values? If it's not accepted based on our own moral values, we discard them.
Thank you so much.
We should talk about, I don't think that law, this law is defective. The law is there to protect our moral values. That's what will give us dignity as a people and as a nation.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Lawrence Alobi. Thank you so much for your opinions today. And thank you so much, Duke of Shomolu, as always, breaking down the house with bounds of laughter and what have you. Thank you so much for your strong opinions on this same issue. Now, for the first conversation that we had about the killers of passion killers in relationship, having a healthy, passionate relationship with the person you love isn't always easy. It can be extremely exciting and rewarding, but this doesn't come without a little bit of work and commitment from both sides. The highs comes with the lows and the rough comes with the smooth, but a little bit of effort goes a long way to ensuring your relationship remains passionate and is sexually active. Concerning LGBTQ, very few of them are open about their sexual orientation because it is an illegal practice here in Nigeria. But safety of lives should mean more than just passing laws. When acts of violence are committed or condoned by officials, national authorities, or citizens on the grounds of sexual orientation and gender identity, this leads to a climate of fear that fuels human rights. Everyone has a right to be safe, and even if they break the law, legal actions can be taken, but violence should not be an option. And always remember, like I keep saying, life is a learning curve. That's all we have time for today. You've been watching Perspectives here on Arise News with me, Ruth Osime. Before we say our byes, however, I leave you with the following images to determine for yourself who among Nigerian politicians should cast the first stone at Bobrisky when it comes to publicly abusing the Naira. Goodbye and have a great week. See you next week.